is what you got for me.
Durag Diaries! Yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to the channel. More importantly than anything, Thomas Frank has been confirmed as Tottenham manager. He has been signed. Fabrizio Romano has given the here we go just this morning. And people, it looks more than likely, pretty much confirmed now, that Spurs will have to get all aboard the Thomas the Frank engine. Yeah, we're on the train and we're on the tracks. And now, everyone, all aboard! You know, one of them ones, yeah? We have got Thomas Frank. Let me share my screen just so we can go through the here we go and the confirmation that has come through from Fabrizio Romano. So as you can see, he tweeted this within the last hour that Thomas Frank will become the new Spurs head coach. Here we go. Agreement done with the manager on contract terms and staff. Brentford set to release Frank for a fee in the region of 10 million. He is the replacement for Ange Postecoglou. Now, it was obviously put out there that Johan Langer has been the one leading the search to replace Ange, so Thomas Frank was well liked by him and well liked by Johan Langer and Daniel Levy. So, it looks like Thomas Frank is now our manager. We now have to start looking ahead, planning ahead to see what this life with Thomas the Frank engine is going to be like. We do have a show. I was anticipating this news getting released today, so it's perfect because we will have a boardroom talks later on tonight. The man like Jacob himself, the one that's been calling him Thomas the Trash Can, he's going to be coming on. We've got a few different fans. We've got a few different fans in it. Some are happy, some are not. But what we need to see is what are we going to do about this manager? Is he the right manager to take over? Is he the man to take us to the next level? Champions League football under Thomas Frank? I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that one. I'm not going to lie. But we're not only talking about that today. Make sure you stay tuned in because we are going to talk a bit more about some transfers, as you may or may not have seen on the thumbnail. Semenyo links have been heating up with regards to that deal and Spurs' interest in him. As you will see, Tottenham are interested in a lot of wingers right now. And I've also seen reports to say Matisse Tell deal will not impact our search for a more experienced player. So Semenyo is on the list. And Jack Grealish is also a player that has been heavily linked to Tottenham. But before we get into any of that stuff, say wagwan to the chat, wagwan to the people. Then make sure you smash a like on the video. You know, standard settings when you're checking into Durag Diaries. And if you want to become a member, make sure you tap the link in the pinned comment to become a delinquent, become a descendant, show your love, and join the extra crew. You know, get some little extra videos and all of them things a bit early. But as we can see, big up to man like Hooks for the raid. Everyone that's come over from here. So if you come over from Hooks' channel, make sure you do the standard thing. Subscribe, like, and all of that business. Man like Perchy, all aboard the Thomas the Frank engine. Big up to Jords, my man. Big up to Perch. I hope you're well. It looks like everyone's all aboard the Thomas the Frank engine, man. DB comes straight over from Hooks. Come on, big up Jords and all the delinquents. Hit the likes and subscribe. You're on your way in. Same as what Hooks says there. It's going to be a good day, my guy. Look, Tottenham fans are happy. Some Tottenham fans are really happy with this appointment, and I can more than understand it. We're bringing in a coach, something that Spurs have always worked well with, managers that know how to make players better, but more importantly, coaches that are adaptable and don't just play one style of play, one system. I'm bored of watching that type of stuff. So I can't lie. I'm looking forward to this. Not saying I'm all aboard the Thomas the Frank engine. You know, I'm not all aboard that train, but I'm looking forward to the new journey. I'll get behind him for whatever I can. I will be critical where I can too, but right now, I'm not mad at this at all. Not mad at it at all. Thomas Frank is a decent manager, just not sure if he's ready to take us that jump, that leap forward. We need it. We need it. Bro, been that Thomas the Frank train business. That was awful. I didn't come up with that, by the way. I'm not claiming I made Thomas the Frank engine. That's just what's going around. That's what Spurs fans are calling him. Just like Big Ange, you know, and all of that stuff. I don't come up with the names. I just say them because that's what it's been called. And it's Thomas the Frank engine. That's what people are saying. So, Thomas the Frank engine, get used to it, bro. Get used to it. We're signing 20 players according to you, Lo. No, what's the point, FC? I haven't said we're signing all these players. If you actually watch the contents of the video, yeah, you would see that I've said Spurs are interested. Spurs want. I've said all the buzzwords like we've seen on the reports. If you can't listen and you have comprehension issues, then that's a you problem. Just like in the name, what's the point of you watching if you're not going to listen? What's the point, FC? Learn from your own name. Don't be a hypocrite. Good evening from New Zealand. Big up to Fraser S. Make sure you're subscribed, man. Man said they're checking in over from New Zealand right now. What's the feeling over in New Zealand about Frank Engine? What are we saying? What are we saying down over them sides? Bro, he is a better coach, in my opinion, than Arteta and Maresca. And if he gets a few signings, he will show that. Tottenham desperately need reinforcements, though, and to sell dead wood. Look, there's no doubt about us needing to sell dead wood. Tottenham needs to get rid of the dead wood. And I'm not saying we have loads of it. A few years ago, we pretty much had half of our squad was dead wood. At this moment in time, I think it's safe to say we probably still need about 7-8 players that need to get gone. A lot of them are young. Some of them are older players that are out on loan that aren't in and around the team at this moment in time. We've obviously seen Fraser Forster, Sergio Reguilon, both been let go, as well as Alfie Whiteman, all three of which you could call dead wood. Now, Ben Davies was supposed to go with those three, but it has been seen that Ben Davies has signed a new contract at Tottenham, a 1-year extension. Now, we don't know whether that's he's signing that so Spurs can then sell him, because rumors were that Wrexham were heavily in for him with regards to their championship move, and they're looking to bring in some Premier League experience. We already know Wrexham have the money to pay top players or top players of their level anyway. So Ben Davies would come into that championship team, probably could be a captain for them. Guy from Tottenham to Wrexham's a huge drop. So he'd probably be one of their best players. There's no doubt about that. But there's still a few more deadwood players that we need to get rid of, and reinforcements are keenly needed. Now, with regards to this Thomas Frank stuff, one of the things I did see that Thomas Frank has agreed on already was with regards to the players. Fabrizio Romano on YouTube said there is an agreement between Tottenham and Thomas Frank on the project, salary, length of contract, budget positions, and players to target. So there is apparently reinforcements already planned with Thomas Frank. He's already agreed with Johan Laingard, Daniel Levy, Fabio Paratici, and co. what players he wants to sign and go for. Now, the one thing that's key with this, and people probably need to take into consideration, is the Brentford model. Thomas Frank had some impact and some. Sorry, it's early morning, people. You can imagine that chest. You can feel it. Yeah. He only had some part to play in the decision-making when it comes to players, because they use a data-led model that Spurs have picked up on upon signing Johan Langer. So with that data-led model, it probably means that Thomas Frank will agree on the type of players that we want, maybe not the exact player that we want. And with that in mind, it's always the Spurs a conundrum. The conundrum that is Tottenham. Some players that managers want, they don't get, but they'll get their C option. There's nothing we can do about that. That's just the way that Tottenham are run. They're never going to pay up for the first player. So ultimately, it looks like there's been some agreement. And with Thomas Frank, one thing we will know is he's not going to expect the same types of players that Conte and Mourinho would want, or another big manager, because the risk of bringing in an Inzaghi or a Conte or Mourinho or that type of manager is they're going to want big players, big signings. Not saying Inzaghi necessarily done that at Inter Milan, but ultimately they're going to want better quality players and not have to work with some scrubs. I think we're not going to see that with Thomas Frank. He's probably going to choose smart players, smart acquisitions, and try to get some players under the price that you'd usually play. Instead of paying 50 million for that type of player, you get 30 million player. I think we're going to see a lot of that, a lot of shrewd signings. So with this deal, I think Spurs and Frank work out, and it will be a match made in heaven in that sense. But also, we do need to remember, Spurs is Spurs. So there's always going to be some type of disparity when it comes to transfers, managers, and so on. Well, back to the big screen. Yeah, because we're not ready to go into none of the transfer stuff yet. We're still going through some of the comments, still catching up. So bear with me. Man said, Semenyo, what's the asking price then? He's decent. Well, what's the point, FC? There's no point in knowing what the asking price is because you don't believe what I'm saying. So why ask me? Why don't you do your own research? You know, one of them ones. No, I won't be salty. The asking price is in and around the same price what Mbomo and Cunha are going for at the moment. I think, look, one thing you need to look at is Premier League fans is look at the market for what's going on right now, because last season's market is not the same as this season's market. Right now, it seems to be that 65 million, 60 million pound slot is the asking price and the set price for I don't want to say mid-level because a lot of these players are above mid-level, but let's just say not top players, the players just underneath the top players, the Cunhas, the Mbeumos, the João Pedros, the Semenyos. You're all seeing that because they're about around 24, 25, they're all a bit young but not young, just ready to get onto that perch of I'm in my prime now. So they're just before their prime. All these players are available for around the same amount of around 60 million pounds. The clubs that you're talking to may move away from that price, but I doubt that it's going to change too much, to be honest. So with regards to Semenyo, I'd expect it to be around 60 million pounds. You may be able to get it just a little bit smaller, but very highly unlikely. I suppose paying half of Grealish's wages is better than getting Timo Werner back. I think with regards to Grealish, we're actually interested in making this bro, I can't speak this morning. We're interested in making this a full deal, not a loan. We're looking to get him and actually sign him. Now, man, you know, I'm not going to go too much into that. We're going to get into that after. But a limited budget manager, yes. A frugal manager, yes. Tottenham shop in the car boot sale. We don't shop in Selfridges or Harrods. You need to know that by now. Yeah, we're going to Primark. We're gonna go get some Primani. never gonna go get some Harrods and get that real designer players. It's just not in Tottenham's. It's not in our blood. Boom, boom, boom. Bomo in the room. Him and Cunha together. We got this pool forever. I like that one, Twisted Free. I like that one still. But nah, he is ready, bro. Trust me. Thomas the Frank engine slaps, in my opinion. Bun these Arsenal fans. Mitch Mitchell, we're all aboard the Thomas Frank the engine train. Choo choo. I'm definitely losing out at my old age. Don't kill me. What's the point, FC? Don't kill me. Spurs love to dress like a homeless man and act like they've got no money. There's no doubt about that. Spurs is literally that person specifically. But Ben Davies to Wrexham, that could be a deal. It could well and truly be a deal. Wagwan Jords, Frank appointment. It is big up to my guy KK. Yes, Thomas Frank. We are going to do a bit more on Thomas Frank here and look a bit more into his Premier League career, because as he has now been confirmed, I think it's only right that we look at some of the stats, just like we've been doing recently, going to his last couple of seasons. what's happened at Brentford, his journey to Brentford, and so on. So we'll go through that very shortly. But before we get there, are you now? Big up to Jords, Bun Spurs, Thomas Frank, and Engine will crash out like the rest. Smash the likes. Are you now, my people, my people? It's your Durag man flying and soaring into the sky again. We're gonna be on Tunnel TV tonight at 7 p.m. So show your love, show your support. Make sure you go and check out Tunnel TV because we're gonna go flame up these Niger English. Yeah, we're gonna flame them up. European champions. Make sure you introduce me correctly, you later. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. But I can see Ben Davies starting in a wheelchair in 2050. I honestly, I rate Ben Davies. I rate Ben Davies in a way now. And I've started to respect his gangster. Because you've got to respect a player that's actually not good enough to play for a team, but has managed to be in that team for 10 years. Ben Davies has never been a first-team player, but somehow, some way, he's managed to get a contract extension upon contract extension upon contract extension. He moved from Swansea to Spurs. He's played Champions League football. He's played Europa League football. He's a European champion. And he's been here for 10 years without actually being a first teamer. It's crazy stuff, but clearly he has the right personality and right attitude behind the scenes because the club love him. And as much as people have wanted him out, myself wanted to move on from him, he's not a bad player. And he's ultimately not a bad attitude player. He's not got a bad attitude on the pitch. He's always working hard. As much as he's some of those people that like they could do A for effort, but their A for effort is just not good enough. It's fine. Sometimes you've got to keep players around the squad. He's a bit older as well, so he can settle some of the younger players. So it's probably needed. But I really rate Thomas the Frank Engine. Big up to KK. Also, Semenyo. We're going to talk about it. Don't believe everything you need. Yeah, that's the Nigerian image. Yeah, I don't know if he call himself Niger English right now. He's calling himself Niger Ing or something like that because no one understands what that. See, don't try to talk about my club because it's not even coming out. It's not, dialect is not the same. It's not computing. Speaking pidgin over there, bro. I don't know. It's not working. Yeah, it's a shame Levy got his data-led model from Tesco's. I hear you. But Frank probably the 5th best coach in the league, so it's good. You know what, Fairs? That's a good question. Where do I rank? Let's see the Premier League coaches. Premier League managers. Let's go through right now. Let's just go through. Where do we think that we rank Frank amongst Premier League managers at this moment in time? You got Pep Guardiola, David Moyes, Unai Emery, Mikel Arteta, Graham Potter, Thomas Frank, Eddie Howe. Let's just say who's better than him. That makes it easier. Rather than saying who's worse than him, I've got Pep Guardiola number 1. I've got Unai. I can't lie. I might have Unai. People are going to try to flame me for this, but I have Unai Emery number 2. Unai Emery is probably the 2nd most proven manager in this league. After that, I've got Arne Slot. I know he won the league this season and he's had a good year, but I'm not going to say that he's above Unai Emery, who's a serial winner. And then after that, I'd go Eddie Howe. And then we'll go Mikel. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then after that, I'd probably go. I'd like to say Amarim, but I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Would you go Amarim? Would you go Amarim after that? But Amarim's not been good. I think Glasner. I think I'll go Glasner. And then we can go Amarim. Then we go Frank. Nuno's not there, man. Nuno's not a good coach. He's so very overrated. Had a good season, and people seem to start overrating him and what he was. But I'd probably go Glasner, Amarim, Frank. So I've got Frank at about 8th, which is, I mean, Brentford finished 9th last season. So his rating is in and about where you would expect him to be with the team that he had. You can't like 8th best manager, 9th, 10th best team. Didn't really overperform, just performed at his level. Now, With Spurs, the expectation is going to be different. It's going to be way higher. But let's see how that plays out. But fifth best coach is definitely a stretch. Fifth best coach is definitely a stretch. Like, yeah, it's definitely pushing it because the other managers out there have won trophies, man. Like, people know me. You won a trophy, you're going above. Arteta was in fifth place because all these other managers are proven more than him. Unai Emery, Eddie Howe, on a slot, more proven than Mikel Arteta. Let's have it right. Really and truly, Glasgow could slide in above him, but I'm allow Arteta because he's done competing in league for a couple of years. But anyway, big up to Jords in the chat. Big up to my guy Jay Spurs. I hope you're well. I can't lie, 2 Bournemouth players in our 11 is nasty work. Seems to look decent. Oh, Semenyo looks decent. Do you know what it is? You can't look at it like 2 Bournemouth players in our 11. Though I do get what you mean. You can't start to say bare players from mid-table teams and expect your team to be a top-level team. That's the one thing I will agree with you at. But happy Trailer Park, Tommy Day or what? I don't know if you know, Jacob. I don't know if you're late, but we're all aboard the Thomas the Frank engine. Choo choo. Yeah, one of them ones. Semenyo, João Pedro, Solanke, and a good right wing would cook. That's my thing, Chills. You was here yesterday, and that's exactly what I was thinking. João Pedro and Solanke as your options in the middle. Then you pair them up with a Semenyo on the left, maybe a Mboum on the right, or even like a No, not Grealish. I was pushing it with the Grealish. Don't really rate Grealish no more. But a Semenyo on the left and then someone else on the right. Just signing 2 new wingers who could actually give you that proper level. Now, if Spurs do sign Tel, I'd expect that we only sign 1 winger, 1 forward. I would expect João Pedro comes in and then another right winger. But that I'm fine with that too because João Pedro can operate off the left, can operate in multiple positions, and Tel and Odegaard can be our 2 left-sided players if Sonny leaves, which I would expect at this point because I don't think we need another season out of Sonny, man. I don't think. I've been seeing all the news. Should we sell Sonny? Should we not? I don't feel like we need another season out of Sonny, man. Like, I'm happy with what I've seen of Sonny. 10 years at our club. He's led us to a trophy. He's the one guy that's going to go down as a legend from that team that was one of the top Pochettino teams, but we need to move on. We need to move on. Let the young kids really take the mantle. Mikey Moore may get a bigger opportunity next season. Maybe see him out on loan at a bigger club. Send him over to Dortmund on loan, man. I can't even lie. I'd love to see Mikey at loan on Dortmund. Get that link up with Joby Bellingham. That would be cool, man. That would be cool to see. But if you want a yes, man, we get in the Gucci levels of yes, man. Aye. Jacob's already started cooking. Don't worry, we're going to get Jacob tonight on the channel so he can really go at this stuff. At least the accomplishments section of reviewing Frank's career will be very short and not sweet. You know, we're going to go on to that. We're going to go on to that, yeah? So hold yourself. But we got the super Ozempic Tommy, who knows Mbomo what we need. Semenyo in attack. Romero not at the back. We're on our way to Champions League. And they're coming up with the chants already. Big up to the chat. Oi, Frank the Tank it is. Aye, Frank the Tank. I like that one. I like that one. Frank the Tank. Forget Thomas, Frank the Engine. Or, yeah. Frank the Tank. I like that. I like that. Frank the Tank. That's the one. That's the one. Frank the Tank. Hey, Glasnow's better. Yeah, I hear it. Big up to Jords. It's cold out here in South Africa. Hey, bro. Can't even lie. It's cold out here too. I got my coffee. Yeah, someone bought me a coffee. So if you want to help out, you can scan to buy me a coffee with that barcode there. But I've got my coffee to warm me up right now because it is 9 in the morning. It's chilly. I was going to go gym before I done a stream, but I saw the news and I was like, no way. No way. We need to do a stream. We need to talk about Frank. We need to get round to what is going on. But Pep, Slot, Glasner, Eddie, Frank, Unai, Frank, Mikel in that order. That's not a bad order. Obviously, you're going by trophies this season. So I understand it. I understand it. Frank better than Howe for me. I don't think I've got Frank better than Howe. I think Howe's obviously won a trophy this season, but also I've seen him play, again, multiple systems. I've seen him get better across the years. He was at the level of Bournemouth. Now he's competing in Champions League. So Eddie Howe's actually a good example when looking at what Thomas Frank could become, because Eddie Howe was Thomas Frank just 5-6 years ago. that was Thomas Frank. That was the manager at a mid-level team doing a good job, probably not doing an amazing job, but many people thought he was ready for a big move. And once he made that move to Newcastle, we've seen it's only been upwards, only been upwards. Glasner, Europa, FA Cup, facts. I think Frank higher. Glasner definitely up there. Is it based purely on Prem or whole career? I done based on their whole career for me. Not based purely on Prem because obviously the Premier League is not the be-all, ends-all. Frank is better than Fraud Tetter. I hear you. I hear you. I wouldn't go as far to say that. I don't think he's as proven, but I'd be more than happy to run that agenda. Don't get me wrong. You might see me on a panel show saying something like that real soon. You might see it happen. But they're all similar managers working with low budgets. Nuno is being backed currently. And look where he finished. Spurs never gave him enough time. You had too much Rice Krispies this morning for sure. I wish I was that young again. Man said Rice Krispies. I could have wished. I could only wish. Don't eat no Rice Krispies. Don't even have breakfast no more because diet season, man. Can't be having breakfast and then your calories all looking like 4,000 in a day, bro. It's crazy stuff. But back to the football stuff. Like you said there, we do need two dynamic wingers. And tell to go back to Germany. Tell needs to go back to Germany. I don't think Tell is the dynamic winger that we need, but Frank is a good manager. And if we do back Frank, it could be. And I'm not even going to open that middle comment, Jacob, because guy mad. We don't even, do not even go there tonight, Jacob, please. We stay away from all of that other stuff. Yeah, we're just talking about football, what's going on the pitch, what I can measure and see and evaluate and statistically analyze with my eyes. That's it. Anything else, if he's a prick, I don't care. It's not in my view. Don't even know about it. So concentrate. Frank kind of unproven because he don't have any silverware yet, but he is about to show he's a top 5 coaches in the league. Spurs fans should be optimistic. It's no different to Poch. The thing is with Pochettino, when Pochettino signed, he actually finished 8th, pushed Southampton into the Europa League, I'm pretty sure, because that was the point of when the Europa League places or dropped down quite heavily. Or push them into Europe or close enough to Europe for anyway. So the point is Pochettino was already pushing on to that level just before the Champions League. So you could tell that he was ready to take that next step. Now, Frank, he's ready to take a step forward. I just don't know if the step forward is as much as it is with Spurs. But get on the train before the seats run up. You don't want to be standing for this journey when the Dane takes us to glory. I hear it. A proper coach that will show up, that will make us so much better. Hey, we need someone like this. No one can tell me this appointment is a bad one. No one. I think Jacob will. I think Jacob definitely will. Yeah, Jords, I'm stoked the train's taking us back 11 years like the time-traveling hamster. What a journey to relevancy without glory. Beautiful days. Talk soon. Happy Trash Can Tommy Day. Talk real soon. 9 p.m. tonight. Hey, Jacob's always on my bro. Jacob, I love Jacob. If Yao could have got Hey, the cat got your tongue. Let's just say that. The cat got your tongue, man. The cat got your tongue. But big up my guy, Frank in. How many trophies has he won? I'm joking. I never said that we needed to hire Frank because he was a serial winner, but I wanted a serial winner. But I know Luke is going to be all aboard the Frank engine or Frank the Tank. Grenade launcher settings. Frank the Tank is ready to deploy at White Hart Lane. We need to know, will you be there to support Luke? We have a boardroom talks tonight, in fact. I haven't dropped you the message yet as I was only sorting it out late last night. So anyone that has got a message from me, they'll even let you know. It was like 11 p.m. start. So if you are around 9 p.m. tonight, jump onto boardroom talks, my guy. You already know you're always invited. We can have your say about Frank the Tank. But big up to Durag Diaries, my guy Hyper. You can become a member like him with the pinned comment in the top section below. You see that little badge he's got next to his name, you know? Delinquent. That's a real delinquent right there. Become a delinquent yourself. Get some exclusive content, you know what I mean? He's a Spurs gaffer, so I'm all in. Hey! I like that one, Luke. I like that one. That's one of them ones. That's like one of them ones you jump up, get the crowd gassed. I saw what you done there. I saw what you done there. He knows what he done. He knows what he done. But one thing I will say is I did see reports to say some of the other managers that we was linked with. So it would just be real quick to know, and it'd be good to know what people think of some of these other names. Because other managers who were considered by Spurs include Andoni Iraola, Roberto De Zerbi, and Marco Silva. Iraola was happy to stay at Bournemouth, and the same reportedly applied with De Zerbi at Marseille. So Spurs looked like the other three managers they were looking at in the Premier League were Iraola, Marco Silva. And De Zerbi obviously also managed at Brighton. So we're looking for managers that have managed in the Premier League, not at the top level. When this is the problem with some of the managers that we're looking at, and why I was never too happy about them, because the managers we're looking at, none of them have managed at the top level in the Champions League. De Zerbi's about to have his first season in the Champions League. He's played Europa League, had decent time there, but never lit it up. He never done amazingly in there. So when I look at De Zerbi's time, I think he's had a good time, but he's not been overachieving there, man. So yeah, I don't know about these level of managers, but let's just have a look. Let's share this screen, and we're looking a bit more into what Thomas Frank has done in his career, his life, and his journey as to how he got to Spurs, to be Spurs manager. So as we can see here, he's been a manager since 0405, taking it way, way, way back. 20 years of experience. Don't know what leagues these are at, but I'm taking it these are youth teams. So that's when he started his career. Onwards from that, he'd done a few years managing Denmark's youth teams up until 2013, when he took his first senior management job at Brøndby IF. At that team, managed for 3 years. So that's 12 years ago he began his job there, literally to the day nearly. And he managed 103 games and got an average of 1.62 points per game, which is decent. 1.62 is a decent number for a manager that's managing not a team that would be challenging for the league, but maybe a team that's pushing at around 4th, 5th, 3rd in their league. He was there for nearly 2 years, or nearly 3 years, sorry, before getting, I don't know if it looks like he's been sacked or he left. It looks like he's been sacked because the gap between the jobs, or he left, whichever way it was, but he left Brøndby and then moved to Brentford to be assistant manager under Dean Smith, where he was for 94 games before taking over as manager in 2018. Now, let's look at the detailed, because this is just compact. There we go. We can look at the detailed stuff. Let's see the detailed breakdown. There we go. There we go. So in Brøndby, as you can see here, 103 games, 46 wins, 29 draws, 28 losses. So yeah, like I said, he's not a team that's going to be competing for the league, but it's going to be a team that's been decent. It's been decent. You know, one of them ones. Big up to Champion Drula in the chat. Good morning to Jords on chat. Good morning to our fellow Spurs Mo. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a good morning. And how do you feel, more importantly, about the Frank the Tank news? Are you up for it? Are you happy? How do you feel about Frank the Tank? Let us know. But onwards from that, we can see he's obviously been in charge at Brentford for a very, very long time. 2,429 days, which is just over 7 years, or coming up to 7 years, sorry. 317 matches, 136 wins, 110 losses, 71 draws, averaging 1.5 points per game. Now, one thing I did want to look at was his actual seasonal stats, because that's what I was going to see. Oh, there it is. That's one of the things I actually wanted to look at. So this season, we can see, because I think the reason we want to look at this, because some seasons it goes down, some seasons it goes up. And that's the important thing here, because I don't necessarily think that he's had his best season last year. I think he's had better years prior to this. So looking into this a bit further, we can see 19 wins, 16 losses, 56 points in total. Now, a lot of people will tell you about Ange's first season, and how he got us first, and he done this and he done that. Oh, sorry, got us fifth, got us into Europa League. But if you actually look at the point tally for that year, I'm trying to get it up. Let me just go Premier League table. If we show you the point tally for that year, because if we look at this, yeah. Oh, bro, there we go. If we look at the point tally, Tottenham only got 66 points. Tottenham only got 66 points that year, finishing fifth. Brentford got 56 points this season, finishing 10th. They finished 10th with 56 points. There was 10 points off of where Postecoglou finished last season, and this wasn't a good year for Frank. This wasn't a good year. So when we talk about can he make the leap to what Tottenham done or what we done with Ange Postecoglou, most definitely. This was a Brentford year, which you could say they had a lot of challenges, a lot of struggles, had some injuries. Buemo and Wissa just carrying them, putting them on their back. And this is what they done. They managed to get 56 points. Yes, they finished 10th, but look at the point tally. It wasn't that bad, and they've actually had better seasons. When you actually look into the stuff, let's go to... Do you know, instead of doing that, we could just go through it this way. We go through it this way. We can look at Brentford the season before. Brentford had a bad year. This is the year that this year the year was bad. The 16th, where they finished 39 points. This was like the season Tottenham just had that year. But then this season was a good Brentford season. This is when they finished just behind us. And this is probably why Thomas Frank was on the radar, because in a bad year that we had, look, they almost finished above us, just 1 point off a 59-point tally. So we could see that he's been ready to push on just behind that European place. And that's why I suggested a team like West Ham, Everton, or so on would probably be the right club for him to move to. But clearly Spurs have wanted to take that jump with him. And 46 points in this season. So you can see 13th, 16th, 9th, 10th. He's had a few decent positions. He's been up and down in the Premier League, and his point tally has been all over the gaff. But Thomas Frank does look like a manager that's ready to take the jump. He does look like the manager that's ready to take a jump and leave Brentford, so we can't blame Spurs for looking at him for that. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know again. I can't stress this enough. Are you Frank in? Are you Frank out? Are you Frank all about? Just let me know how you're feeling. Do you know what? Let me run a poll, in fact. Let me run a poll. I don't do enough polls. Let's run a poll. Also, let's get the likes up, because 30 likes isn't good enough. We need to be on 50 likes, standard settings. So let's make sure we get this up to 50 likes. But let me run a poll. Frank in, Frank out. The poll is up. To be frank, I don't really care. I don't care. That's what hype is on. Let us know if you're Frank in, Frank out. Vote on the poll. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to some of the transfer stuff, because I know some people came to this show because they wanted to hear about the transfer news, who Spurs are in for. Are we going to make Semenyo happen? Are we going to make Grealish happen? What's going to happen around those deals? So we are going to go into that stuff. Let me just get up some of the stats that I had so we can go through the players' stats as we normally do. And then we will go into the comparison. I just have to get a few things up. All right. Players. Just bear with me, people. Bear with me. We're literally going to get the players up in a second. Antoine Semenyo. Jack Grealish. Why has it got last season's stats? Um, all right. First, but definitely not least, as you can see here, it has been shared by Sky Sports Lyle Thomas that Tottenham have been stepping up their interest in Antoine Semenyo. Man United are also still admirers despite an Mbomo bid, but interesting situation brewing between these two players and the two clubs. To add on to that, I did also see reports saying that Antoine Semenyo prefers a club that is going to be playing in the Champions League. So he wants to be playing at the top level, unlike Mbomo, Gyökeres, and Cunha, who all just want to go to Manchester United for the money. Antoine Semenyo actually cares about his career and the path that his career is going to take him on. So he wants to go play at the top level, play in the Champions League, get that background that he can see behind us right now, living that life, nights under the lights, playing, on a Wednesday night. They don't even play Thursdays. They don't even play Thursdays. They play just Saturday because they're shy. What a feeling, what a night. Oh, what a night. Oh, what a night. Watching Tottenham on a Tuesday night. You play Saturdays only because you're fucking shy. What a feeling, what a night. Oh, what a night. Yeah, so he actually has ambition for himself, but more importantly, Antoine Semenyo is the direct winger that Tottenham need. He's one of those P&P specialists who just drive with the ball. When they're running at players, he's big. Don't even want to say the other one, but when he's running at you, you can imagine he's an absolute beast. His dribbling is one of his key strengths about his game. When he plays in off that left-hand side, can also operate off of the right, but mainly off of that left-hand side. Let me get up his stats so we can just have a quick look into what is going on with Antoine Semenyo in the last season. So as we can see here, last season, 37 appearances, 11 goals, 6 assists, but 9 yellow cards. 9 yellow cards shows the tenacious side of things. But like I said, people, he is very versatile. He can play off the left. He can play off the right. He's better off the left-hand side so he can cut in on his right foot. And he has an absolute rifle of a shot. And he's I wouldn't say he's a top player, but he's a top player in the Premier League, ready to make that jump to the next club. He obviously played that season the year before with Solanke and created a lot of goals to help Solanke get to that 19 goals that he eventually finished on in the Premier League. So we know that he's got that link-up capability with the striker that we have in our front line already. 13 goals in all competitions, 7 assists, made it have 20 GA across the season, which is a stellar. Or very, very good season, you could say, for a club, if not do better in the final third. I do think some of his decision making at times can be questionable. Not the cleanest of strikers of the ball, so sometimes some of his crosses and shots tend to go wayward, but he just glides past players. Honestly, like, one of the best things about him is he just glides with the ball. Just such an elegant dribbler at times. So I think Semenyo is definitely a player that Spurs are going to be in for. And like we said, when you look at João Pedro, when you look at Mbomo, when you look at Grealish, who we're going to look at after, all of these players are within that same price range. So Grealish maybe a little bit less due to his age, but like we said yesterday, Spurs are looking for players in between that 23 to 27 age gap. Semenyo comes smack bang in the middle, turning 25 this year. So ready to take that step to be in his prime in the next couple of years of his career, but also more important than anything, he's still young. Can still sign him on a 5-year contract, and he's still got plenty of time left. But as you can see, look, 10 games on the left, 10 games on the right, also played one down the middle, but he's played in multiple positions for Bournemouth this season. Never really had a problem. And if you look at his season before that, you can also see
this was his best performing season at Brentford, taking that step forward last year because he only scored 8 goals and 3 assists last season, I should say, because to some people 24-25 is last season. But also the season before that took a step forward because he scored 8 goals that season before and then 6 the season before. So every year he's been taking that step forward and then step forward and then step forward again. And again, he's played multiple positions, centre forward, left wing, attacking midfielder. Throughout his career, he's one of those multi-functional forwards. Remember what I said yesterday, Spurs are going to be staying looking at these multi-functional players. Now, looking a bit deeper into his numbers, we can see one of the biggest strengths, like I said, would be his progressive carries and his dribbles. He is a very, very strong dribbler. Let me see if I can make this slightly bigger for you guys. Is this a bit bigger? Don't really make a difference. Wait, I can zoom in. What am I doing? I could definitely zoom in. So 81.6 in progressive carries, 81.8 in the dribbles. You can see that's his 2 biggest strengths. He's one of those players that are going to move forward with the ball, carry it past players. But like I said, his decision making is where I have some of my questions, with his key passes and assists being slightly low at the 28.0 percentile, 42.0 percentile. Now, his attacking actions are high. He does make a lot of attacking actions, as when he gets on the ball for Bournemouth, he's in the transition. He's usually bulldozering through the midfield to help them get up the pitch. So 78.2 high attacking actions. And then also his non-penalty goals is fairly good, and expected goals and expected assists is fairly decent. So on the data, it makes him look like a fairly good player, as it backs up the fact of what we see with the eye test. Strong dribbler, not the best of passes, not the cleanest strikes of the ball, but still manages to have a good impact in that final third. So Antoine Semenyo is an option Spurs will be looking at in this window, and you can see why. He fits exactly what Spurs are looking for. And Antoine Semenyo is going to come within that price range that we're looking to spend. So we got to keep a closer eye on this player, on this deal, as it does look like one that will be done. It can be done, I should say, because we got people like What's the Point FC in here saying, you said we're signing 4 or 5 players, 6 players, and none of them are being signed. It's a deal that Spurs want to get done. Now, this is obviously dependent on many things, but he is one player that Spurs are interested in and targeting because of the quality that he brings. Now, moving on to the other player, the English maestro. This is a player that Spurs have been interested in for long standing. 10 years or so. 10 years. Spurs have looked at Jack Grealish. We were actually eyeing Jack Grealish when he was 16 and he made that move to Aston Villa. Or is that Aston Villa? When he decided to stay at Villa, when Spurs were looking to sign him, and before they went back down to the Championship, we were looking to make that move. Didn't make that move. He signed a new contract, and then we didn't get him. But he's been a player that has been on Spurs' radar ever since then. And more importantly, in the last couple of years, his career has gone off an absolute cliff. Not sure as to what Spurs see in him currently. Still a very good dribbler, good carrier of the ball, but outside of that, doesn't really impact too much into the game. So, not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of this signing. Multifunctional, low. Sometimes he's a footballer, sometimes he's a hoover. Sometimes, bro. Sometimes he may be a hoover. Man said why he's skipping. Did the internet break up? Did the internet break up? I didn't mean to skip anything. I can't even lie. I went through everything. So if it skips out on the screen, my bad, innit? Mboma is a gooner. Oh, the moles. Drula gave us some breakdown. I don't want Mboma if he's a gooner. I'm not gonna lie. We don't mess with the gooners over these sides. I also heard there was another player that was a gooner that Spurs were interested in. I said, look, let's just keep it moving, man. I'm tired of seeing these gooners come to our club. Man, like is James Maddison? No, not James Maddison. Jack Doherty. Was it Jack Doherty? Whatever his name was, Matt Doherty, not Jack, Matt Doherty. Dead players, man. We don't need these Arsenal fans. They're not good enough. Shitty gooners.
My bro, Jords, big up to PFC TV, DB1981. Big up, Jords, and all the chat. Got to go into a meeting. Remember to hit the likes, people, and enjoy the rest of your day. Or as he says there, people, make sure you enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one. But big up to DB1981 every single time. That's the guy. Big up to my guy, Illy. Yeah, smash the like button. Let's get my boy to 50 likes standard. Really and truly, we need 60. Really and truly, we need 60. But I ain't going to ask too much. I'm not going to ask too much, yeah? I'm going to leave that to you guys, innit? You man are on funny thing, so we're gonna leave that to you. But as we can see here, Jack Grealish does not look good on the numbers. 20 Premier League games last year. Now, as you can see, 20 games, but only 715 minutes. He was a substitute majority of the year. Come back from injury, came on as a sub. Come back from injury, came on as a sub. Never really started too many games. Didn't have much of an impact for them. And to be fair, we can go a year on year with Jack Grealish. You can see how he's absolutely fell off a cliff since joining Manchester City. At Aston Villa was getting some good numbers, really pushing on for them, really starting to make a name for himself. And, you know, he earned that 100 million move because he had such a good season. But onwards from there, a lot of people will talk about the treble winning season and say that Jack Grealish had a good year. The numbers were still very underwhelming. I think for me, Jack Grealish can be good on the eye for a lot of people. He takes on players. He's a bit of a slow dribbler. He's one of those guys that are good on the eye, does the hair flicks like Odegaard. He looks good on the camera, Mr. Calf himself, what do you call it? The short shin pads. He does all these things that makes him look like a good player, top player, but his numbers and underlying metrics are just never good for me. And that's the thing that just don't lie. Now, I'm not someone that likes to focus on numbers wholly, but when I watch him, I think, yeah, he has good moments in the game. He'll beat his man down the left-hand side, but a lot of the time, when he's not beating his man, he's just doing the ball roll thing to waste time to then pass it back. And I don't need players that are just there to retain possession. Because I know in the Pep system, you want him to retain possession. But at Villa, LB, his numbers were better. They weren't amazing, but they were definitely better. When I talk about numbers, I don't just talk about these numbers, the goals and assists, the chances created, the dribbles per game, the carries, the take-ons. All of his numbers were good at Aston Villa. So that's why he was signed, because all-round game, I mean, he had his role at Villa was to get the ball and you can go anywhere across the front line. At Manchester City, he's very much limited to that left wing and just working up and down that left wing. A lot of people suggested early in his career that he would become an inside 8, but Jack Grealish just doesn't have the work rate to play in the 8. So for me, whenever I watch Jack Grealish, I'm just underwhelmed. At this moment in time, I was a big fan of him a few years ago, but as you can see, man, the last couple of seasons for Jack Grealish just haven't been good. He's not maintained a good relationship with Pep Guardiola throughout that time. I think those two have had a few arguments. It's obviously been a bad influence on Phil Foden, whose career hasn't looked the same this season. And again, look, 3 goals. He's averaging 2 or 3 goals a season, 20 games played. His availability is just not there. And Manchester City want £50 million for him. £50 million for a dud that's only available 20 games a season is just silly money. On top of the fact that his wages are just astronomical. I'm pretty sure he's on at around 250k per week. I would be absolutely, and I'll make this clear, absolutely against the signing of Jack Grealish to bring him in as one of our highest paid players to never be available and basically spending 50 million simply on the fact that he's English. He's also 29 years of age. So he actually doesn't fit within the model that Spurs are looking for because he's going to turn 30 this year. We've already got a 32-year-old left winger that is pretty much finished. We don't need another one that's going to be finished or on the brink of being finished. So with regards to Grealish, don't want this deal to happen. Would happily see Grealish go to any other club that isn't Spurs because Spurs shouldn't be anywhere near this deal. Jack Grealish is not good enough for Tottenham, nor is he good enough for the top level of the Premier League. I think that he should move to a team like West Ham, where you can just ply your trade, get through doing the bare minimum, and the fans are still going to love you. So for me, don't think that the Jack Grealish deal should happen, and I'm not a big fan of seeing Jack Grealish at Tottenham Hotspur this season. So yeah, man, look, his numbers are deceiving as he often gets players doubling up on him that creates space for others.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. But the doubling up is always going to happen if you're a top player. So we've seen Saka and Palmer get double up. They still managed to perform. Jack Grealish, I'm not hearing it. No excuses. But watching him play at Villa, I'd take that player all day. I don't want that clone that plays for City. Exactly that, Jacob. It's exactly that, bro. I don't want that clone that plays for City. Watching him at Villa, I would have been all up for this signing. Like, he's a class player at Villa. But, hey, I'm just telling you right now, he's not the one. At Manchester City, he is not the one. Turkey, UT eager to sell him now. I really don't want him. Jacobs, just take him, bro. Aye, they're out here trying to push him our way. They're coming in the Spurs chats trying to sell him to us. You know, one of them ones. Sell me a pen. That's what I'm on right now. So, and you know the maddest thing is they want 50 million euros and 50 million pounds for him. His value is only 28 million euros on transfer market. So from his value is 28 million euros, let's have it right. He's only worth around 25 million pounds. They're trying to ask us for double the money simply because he's English and he's got some PR. You're having a laugh. Jack Grealish is not the one, and Spurs should not be looking at making this happen. Most definitely not. Spurs should not be looking at making this Grealish deal happen, no matter what. Just no matter what. But big up to Shay, who decided to check into the chat. Long time no see. I hope you've been well, my fellow champion. Big up to DRD and chat. Make sure you hit the likes. As she says there, make sure you hit the likes. Let's see what the likes are on, because we're not leaving until we're on at least 50. So we're 7 away from 50. Let's make sure we get these likes up to 50, because then we can talk about ending the stream. But we're not ending the stream until we get to 50. No doubt about it. We're going to stay here until we get to at least 50 now. You guys can do the thing where you don't want to like it or unlike it so we can go for longer. Or you can help a brother out, you know. Health is wealth. I can go do my gym session, come back, do some more work, maybe another stream in the afternoon. Who knows? Who knows? But make sure you smash that like button regardless, because it don't take a second. It don't cost a thing. So why not? Smash the damn like button, people. Smash the like button. But interested to see if he stays in the Prem. That's the thing there. I don't know. I think the Premier League is probably going to be where he will stay, simply because he's comfortable. He's not left the Premier League before, but he will have interest outside the Premier League. I can see Jack Grealish going to Serie A, going to Bundesliga, potentially going to France and lighting it up. He'd probably be one of the best players in the league over there, simply just because the way that he plays, you don't get too many players with that style of play in those leagues. Maybe even La Liga. I think La Liga, he'd be class. We see what Anthony's doing out there right now. I think we just need to see him at that level, going over there and seeing what happens. I just don't think he's going to be willing to take that risk. That's the thing, man. Man loves London lifestyle too much. He wants to be in Manny in China White, or be in London, down in bloody Rain, down in Club Rain and all them things. Like, man loves lifestyle too much. And that's one of the more important things. I don't want Jack Grealish near Spurs so he can corrupt James Maddison, corrupt Mikey Moore, corrupt Archie Gray and some of our English youngsters. I want him to stay away. I don't need Jack Grealish corrupting some of our youngsters like he's done to Foden, to think that they can go on binges midweek, getting drunk and them things. Because the way Jack Grealish was celebrating things mid-season, like, you'd have thought they won things. You'd have thought he was key to making them win things. Don't do shit. But he's out here getting drunk every other week. Like, if he's going through stuff in life, then I hear it. You know, men's mental health is key and someone needs to check in on him. But away from that, nah, man, I ain't hearing it. Jack Grealish, keep him away from Spurs, man. Keep him away from Spurs. But I'm seeing that the poll, we're going to end the poll. There's 42 votes came in, and pretty much everyone was Thomas Frank in, barring the 4% that was out, and 4% of 42. How's my maths? 2 votes? I think it's like 2 votes. I'm gonna guess it's like 2 votes. So maybe 2 people voted for Thomas Frank out. And at 42, that's a bit mad, isn't it? Clearly, Thomas Frank is really, really liked in the world of Tottenham. And you know what? That's good for him. I actually like that. That is good for him. I think it'll be a good start to his Spurs career. And unlike some of the other managers that are coming, he's not going to have an abundance of people not wanting him and going, I don't want him, get him out of my club and all this rubbish. So I think he'll win over the fans, but more importantly, the players really quickly, because we've heard for a long time that Thomas Frank
Not Thomas Frank. When Ange left, the players weren't happy, the dressing room's been unhappy, and so on and so forth. I think Thomas Frank comes in, and a lot of people have been sharing that little chat he had with his dressing room. Thomas Frank will come in and win over the dressing room, no doubt about that. But can you imagine him and Biss getting the youths on the balloons? All right, trust me, these men are gonna be on their way home after a game, be like, "Yo, can we get a crate?" No, in fact, give me 3 crates, bro. And I don't want that Miami Vice thing. Man, need the fast gas. If you know, you know. Man's I've got too much information. I'm revealing too much information. It's bad. It's bad. I've been following Frank all last season. He's been my top pick of any realistic target that would have come. Do you know what, Eli? I hear you. I hear you. A lot of people that have been following Frank have said that he was their top pick. So it's understandable. I think Frank is a good move for Tottenham. He is definitely a good move for Tottenham. And we're going to have to see where this eventually takes us. We're going to have to see where this eventually takes us. But that has been our morning show, people. As we said, we're going to try to come to you guys every day with a morning show. Tomorrow, I won't be, not tomorrow, but Thursday, we will be back 10 a.m. with the Tottenham transfer news show. So make sure you keep a lookout for that. I'm going to send you guys over to my guy, Sava. Make sure you drop a DRD raid chat in the Football Heritage TV chat. Let them know where you guys come from. Durag Diaries raid, DRD raid. Let him know you've come over from your boy. Show some love, show some support over there. Drop a like when you go in. And until next time, this has been your boy Durag Diaries, Tottenham Transfer News Show. We'll be back Thursday morning. Be there, 10 a.m. Thomas Frank, the Tank, has been confirmed. Durag Diaries, we're out.